Hidden in these fields is one of the most valuable crops on Earth. Rice so premium, chefs call it the Wagyu of grains. But what makes Taiwan's rice different? The answer lies in a brutal race against time. Farmers here have just 10 days, yes 10 days, to harvest their entire crop at the exact moment it hits 23% moisture. One day too early, the rice is ruined. One day too late, the grains shatter, destroying months of backbreaking work. Some farmers still use 200-year-old methods, cutting each stalk by hand under the scorching sun. Others have turned to AI-powered harvesters that work through the night. But no matter how they do it, one thing's certain. This isn't just farming. It's a high-stakes battle against nature, technology, and time itself. And if they fail, the consequences are worse than you think. Because behind these picturesque fields lies a shocking truth about who really pays the price for the world's best rice. Today, join FactoryX as we explore the fascinating process of how dedicated farmers grow delicious food we call rice. The science behind Taiwan's premium rice. Taiwan's rice isn't just grown, it's engineered for perfection. Unlike mass-produced grains that prioritize quantity over quality, Taiwanese farmers cultivate varieties so distinct that they become the gold standard for gourmet chefs worldwide. The secret? It starts with the seed. Taiwan's most prized rice strains, like Taichung No. 10 and Panlai rice, are the result of decades of selective breeding. Scientists at Taiwan's Agricultural Research Institute have spent years crossbreeding varieties to achieve the perfect balance of texture, aroma, and resilience. Taichung No. 10, for example, was specifically developed to withstand typhoon-force winds while maintaining its signature soft, slightly sticky texture. Panlai rice, on the other hand, is bred for its floral fragrance, a trait so distinct that it's often compared to jasmine rice, but with a richer, buttery finish. But world-class rice isn't just about genetics. The environment plays an equally critical role. Taiwan's unique geography, nestled between towering mountains and the sea, creates microclimates that are perfect for rice cultivation. The mineral-rich water that flows from the central mountain range into the paddies carries nutrients that commercial fertilizers can't replicate. This natural irrigation system is why Taiwanese rice develops a depth of flavor that's nearly impossible to mimic elsewhere. Farmers here don't just rely on nature, though. Precision agriculture is a cornerstone of Taiwan's rice production. Before planting, soil samples are analyzed in labs to determine exact nutrient levels. If the pH is even slightly off, farmers adjust it with organic supplements, never synthetic chemicals. The water levels in the paddies are monitored daily, ensuring the roots get just the right amount of hydration without drowning. And then there's the harvesting paradox. The very traits that make Taiwanese rice so desirable also make it incredibly fragile. The grains must reach 23% moisture content, not 22%, not 24%, before they're cut. Harvest too early, and the rice is brittle, ruining its signature chew. Harvest too late, and the grains crack under their own weight, turning what should be a premium product into livestock feed. This precision extends to drying, where most global rice producers use industrial dryers that blast grains with heat, sacrificing flavor for speed. In Taiwan, many farms still air dry their rice under shaded canopies, a process that takes twice as long but preserves the grain's natural oils. The result? Rice that cooks up fluffier, absorbs sauces better, and, most importantly, tastes like nothing else on Earth. Yet for all this scientific rigor, there's an art to Taiwanese rice farming that machines can't replicate. Generational farmers can tell a field's readiness just by rubbing a stalk between their fingers. They know how the morning fog clinging to the plants affects the harvest window. They understand that the best rice isn't just grown, it's nurtured, almost like a living thing. This combination of cutting-edge science and centuries-old intuition is why Taiwanese rice commands prices up to 300% higher than standard imports. It's why Michelin-starred restaurants insist on it. And it's why, despite global competition, Taiwan's rice industry continues to thrive. But this level of quality comes at a cost, one that's putting the entire system at risk. The delicate art of rice planting in Taiwan. The journey of Taiwan's premium rice begins not in sprawling fields, but in carefully controlled nursery beds, where the first critical weeks of life determine the entire season's success. Unlike the direct seeding methods used in large-scale rice production elsewhere, Taiwanese farmers employ a meticulous transplanting system that dates back centuries, but has been refined with modern precision. In climate-controlled greenhouses across Taiwan's agricultural regions, workers begin each season by preparing special seedling trays filled with a proprietary blend of soil and organic nutrients. The seeds themselves undergo rigorous selection, each one inspected for size, color, and density before planting, treating seedlings like newborn babies. The seedlings are closely monitored for 30 days, including the temperature, humidity, and sunlight exposure by the hour. One mistake during this phase can ruin the entire crop. The nursery phase reveals Taiwan's unique approach to rice cultivation. While most countries aim for maximum yield per acre, Taiwanese farmers intentionally space seedlings further apart, sacrificing quantity for quality. Crowded plants compete for nutrients. The spacing method gives each stalk room to develop stronger roots and fuller grains. This philosophy extends to water management during the nursery period, where alternating wet and dry periods strengthen the young plant's resilience. When the seedlings reach exactly 15 to 20 centimeters in height, typically after 25 to 30 days, they're ready for their most critical transition: hand transplantation into flooded paddies. This back-breaking process, performed by teams of skilled workers bent double in the water, represents one of agriculture's most labor-intensive practices. Each seedling is planted individually, spaced precisely 25 to 30 centimeters apart in straight rows that look like military formations when viewed from above. The transplantation process follows strict protocols developed over generations. Workers use their thumbs to create the perfect 2 to 3 centimeter depression in the muddy soil, shallow enough to prevent root rot, but deep enough to anchor the plant against Taiwan's frequent summer storms. The angle of insertion matters too. A 45-degree tilt encourages optimal root spread. In the past, farmers could plant an acre in a day without ever needing to measure. Today, farmers use laser guides, but the principles remain the same. Water management during early growth stages showcases Taiwan's innovative farming techniques. While the paddies remain flooded to control weeds and regulate temperature, the water depth fluctuates based on the plant's growth phase. Infrared sensors now monitor root development, automatically adjusting irrigation levels to within 1 centimeter accuracy. This precision prevents the oxygen starvation that plagues conventional rice farming, while maintaining the humid microclimate Taiwanese varieties require. What truly sets Taiwan apart is its approach to natural pest control. Instead of chemical pesticides, many farms employ a symbiotic duck-rice system, where flocks of ducks patrol the paddies, eating insects and weeds, while their waste fertilizes the plants. At the Hualien Organic Rice Cooperative, farmers have taken this further by introducing specific fish species that target mosquito larvae without disturbing the rice roots. The plant's growth over the following months becomes a study in controlled stress. Taiwanese farmers intentionally expose the rice to calculated challenges, carefully timed water reductions that force roots to grow deeper, or brief nutrient restrictions that increase grain density. Not trying to make the plants comfortable, moderate stress triggers survival mechanisms that improve texture and flavor. As the stalks mature, the fields transform into a living laboratory. Drones with multispectral cameras map chlorophyll levels across each paddy, flagging areas needing attention. Soil probes transmit real-time data on nutrient absorption rates. Some progressive farms have even begun experimenting with AI-assisted growth prediction models that can forecast yield quality weeks before harvest, based on microscopic leaf patterns. Yet for all this technology, the human element remains irreplaceable. During critical growth phases, experienced farmers walk their fields daily, running fingers along leaf edges to check for disease, tasting the irrigation water for mineral balance, even listening to the sound of wind through the stalks as an indicator of plant health. This painstaking attention continues through the flowering stage, when temperature fluctuations of just 2 to 3 degrees can alter starch composition in the grains. Many farmers install temporary wind barriers or fine mist systems to protect the delicate blossoms during this period. The reward comes as the green panicles begin their gradual transformation to gold, a color change that doesn't just signal approaching harvest, but represents the culmination of hundreds of precise decisions made since those first seeds were placed in nursery trays. The planting and growth process embodies Taiwan's agricultural philosophy, a blend of ancestral wisdom and cutting-edge science, where respect for natural rhythms meets relentless innovation. It's an approach that produces rice with unmatched character, grains that carry not just nutrients, but the story of their creation in every bite. As the plants reach their final weeks before harvest, the focus shifts to Taiwan's most dramatic agricultural race against time, the Golden 10 Days, Taiwan's harvest countdown. The moment Taiwanese rice farmers both anticipate and dread comes without fanfare. A subtle change in the way rice stalks bend in the wind, a barely perceptible shift in the sound they make when rustling together. This is the beginning of the harvest window, a nerve-wracking 240-hour period where months of meticulous work face their ultimate test. At research stations across Taiwan, agronomists refer to this as the 23-10 rule. The rice must reach exactly 23% moisture content and be harvested within 10 days to achieve premium grade. It's not a suggestion, it's a biological imperative. The starch molecules complete their final transformation during this window. Miss it, and you're left with ordinary rice. Farmers enter a state of hypervigilance as the grains begin their color change from green to golden yellow. Many don't sleep in their homes during this period, instead keeping round-the-clock watch in field-side shelters. The most traditional growers still use the ancient tooth test, biting sample grains throughout the day to monitor texture changes. You learn to feel the exact moment when the kernel stops being milky and develops that perfect resistance, says 72-year-old farmer Lin Mao Sheng from Yilan County. Modern technology has added new tools to this ancient practice without replacing human judgment. Digital moisture meters now provide instant readings, but veteran farmers cross-check them with time-honored methods like the nail test, pressing a grain with a thumbnail to check hardness, and the panicle shake, listening for the specific sound of mature grains rubbing together. The most accurate indicator remains the morning dew test, examining how droplets collect on the rice first thing at dawn, as surface tension changes with starch conversion. When the magic 23% is reached, operations transform into what locals call rice combat mode. Harvesting crews work 18-hour shifts in brutal humidity, their progress tracked on digital dashboards showing real-time field moisture levels. The pressure is immense. A single afternoon thunderstorm can raise moisture levels by 2 to 3%, potentially ruining an entire field's readiness. Farmers have even gone to extreme lengths and harvested under floodlights at 2 a.m. because the weather radar showed rain coming at dawn. The harvesting methods themselves reveal Taiwan's agricultural dichotomy. In the plains of Taoyuan, $500,000 Japanese-made combine harvesters with AI vision systems work with surgical precision, their onboard computers adjusting blade height every 30 centimeters to match terrain variations. Meanwhile, in the terraced fields of Nantou County, crews still use hand sickles passed down through generations. Machines can't navigate these slopes, and the vibration from mechanical harvesters would cause grains to shatter on these delicate varieties. Post-harvest handling becomes a carefully choreographed ballet of timing and temperature. Within 4 hours of cutting, the rice must begin drying, a process that itself requires constant monitoring. High-end farms use computer-controlled dryers that adjust temperature by half-degree increments, slowly reducing moisture to the ideal 14%. Traditionalists still prefer sun-drying on bamboo mats, though even this ancient method now incorporates weather-predicting drones and UV-sensitive covers that automatically retract when sunlight intensity crosses certain thresholds. The stakes during these 10 days extend far beyond individual farms. Taiwan's rice grading system has 12 quality tiers, and the difference between premium special grade and standard grade 1 can mean a 40% price drop. Export contracts often include strict moisture specifications, with shipments rejected if laboratory tests show even 0.5% deviation. Farmers have had entire containers turned away because one bag tested at 23.6% instead of 23%. That's why farmers obsess over every decimal point. This pressure manifests in unexpected ways across rural Taiwan. Some communities organize harvest SWAT teams, groups of veteran farmers who move from field to field making judgment calls. Local agricultural banks extend 24-hour loan services during this period, knowing farmers might need immediate equipment repairs. Even Taiwan's Weather Bureau issues special micro-forecasts for rice regions, with updates every 3 hours instead of the usual 12. The human toll becomes visible in hospital emergency rooms across farming regions, where harvest-related injuries spike annually. Medical professionals see everything from heat strokes to combine harvester accidents to older farmers collapsing from exhaustion. Every year begging farmers to slow down, and every year telling them the rice won't wait. As the final hours of the harvest window tick away, a palpable tension grips farming communities. Fields that couldn't be harvested in time stand as stark reminders of nature's indifference. Their grains now overripe and destined for low-value processing. But in the warehouses holding successfully harvested rice, there's quiet triumph. The 2310 challenge has been met once more through a combination of ancestral knowledge, technological innovation, and sheer human determination. Yet, this is only the beginning of the journey. Next comes the even more rigorous testing that determines which rice will grace the world's finest tables and which will become mere commodity. Tradition meets technology. Taiwan's harvesting revolution. The rice fields of Taiwan tell two competing stories, one written in centuries of tradition, the other in cutting-edge innovation. While some farmers still rely on methods unchanged since the Qing dynasty, others have embraced AI-driven machinery that harvests with near-surgical precision. This stark contrast reveals Taiwan's delicate balancing act between preserving heritage and securing its agricultural future. In the terraced hills of Hualien and Nantol, farming remains an art form passed down through generations. Water buffalo still plow flooded paddies, their hooves churning the mud to the same rhythm as they did 200 years ago. Harvesting is done by hand, with workers bending low under the sun, swinging sickles in practiced arcs. The process is slow, grueling, and deeply personal. Farmers can identify individual rice plants they nurtured from seedlings. These traditionalists argue that machines bruise the grains, compromising quality. Their rice sells at a premium, marketed as hand-harvested heritage grains to high-end buyers in Japan and Europe. Yet just a few miles away, the future of rice farming unfolds in fields buzzing with autonomous harvesters. These $300,000 machines, equipped with hyperspectral cameras and AI, analyze each plant in real time, adjusting blade speed and cutting angle to optimize yield. They work day and night, guided by GPS with centimeter-level accuracy. Some models even integrate with weather satellites, automatically rerouting to harvest the driest fields first when rain threatens. The efficiency is staggering. What takes a week by hand is completed in hours. The divide isn't just about tools, it's an ideological battle over what defines quality. Traditionalists claim machine-harvested rice lacks soul, pointing to subtle differences in texture. Modernists counter with lab results showing their methods preserve more intact grains, reducing breakage. The truth likely lies somewhere in between. Some premium varieties do benefit from gentler handling, while high-volume crops thrive under mechanization. But economics, not philosophy, may decide the winner. With Taiwan's farming population aging and labor costs rising, automation isn't just convenient, it's becoming essential. Even staunch traditionalists admit that their children won't work the fields under the same conditions. The compromise? A new wave of hybrid farms, where water buffalo plow fields, later harvested by drones, and where grandparents teach grandchildren to read soil moisture sensors alongside folk signs. This uneasy coexistence defines Taiwan's rice industry today, a living museum of agricultural history racing toward an automated future. The outcome will shape more than just farming. It will determine whether Taiwan's most famous crop remains a cultural icon or becomes another commoditized product of efficiency. One thing is certain, the world will taste the difference. Taiwan's rice fields hide a story few truly understand. One of tradition clinging to survival, technology pushing boundaries, and farmers caught between. Every grain represents a choice: preserve the past or embrace progress. But one truth remains unchanged. This isn't just rice, it's a legacy. So the next time you lift a bowl of steaming rice, remember the hands that planted it, the machines that harvested it, and the impossible race against time that brought it to your table. Want to uncover more hidden stories behind the food you eat? Hit like if you learned something new. Subscribe to dive deeper into how the world really works. And drop a comment telling us what crop we should explore next. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.